no time.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy Crypto World podcast. The podcast brought to you by your two crazy guys, Stacey and Chris. One a baby boomer, one a Gen X. Is it a Gen X? Yeah, Gen X.
Yeah, I'm an Xer.
That's right, but both crazy enough to want to bring you your crypto news of the day as well as all the market updates. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes.
Who knows?
Good morning, Mr. Boastful. How are you, sir?
Morning, sunshine. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I just had my second cup of coffee of the day. The
Yeah,
first
you
one
did.
was a really special cup of coffee. It's called the wearable coffee.
It was wearable. Yeah, I watched it. I
It
watched
was
it
a
in
wearable
horror.
coffee. It was one of those ones where accidentally the cord hits the cup goes, I'm tired, I'll have a little lay down, and here you can still have a coffee.
Yeah.
Ladies and gents, anyone who's been waiting online since 7 o'clock to see your favourite two guys, sorry,
We
that
do
was my fault.
apologise.
Coffee all over me. I had to go and change. I could sit here without pants on, but you might get offended.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. We don't want that.
I don't think I'll get the camera down that low, dude.
No.
So, mate, what's happening in the markets today? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a hint. This is the one where we recharge our tanks. Scuba, that is. You need air. Why do you need air? Because you're going underwater. That might give you a hint what the markets are doing.
No, it's not. I don't think it's that bad, but it's we did drop below the 10.3, 10.2 sort of support level again. But
We have
10,000 seems to be holding for the moment. So who knows? Who knows? You can't really tell what's going on. So
it's my fault. It is my fault. I've got some more Bitcoin at 10.3. So blame me.
It's that Chris index again.
It is. They should have one. We should put up a website that actually follows anything. That'd be hilarious.
Dude. Doesn't matter, mate. In 2 years' time, none of this will matter.
That's right.
So where are we at? Bitcoin 10,074. She's dropped almost 2% overnight, and but still holding.
Still in the green for the 7-day run.
Still up. Yeah, still up 5% for the week. So that's all right. Ethereum's at 178. She's dropped 1%. XRP is at 25.7, down 0.7. Bitcoin Cash at 302, down 0.5%. Litecoin's actually reversed. It's up above 70 again and up 2.2% for some strange reason. EOS 378, it's down 2.6. Jumping over Tether, Binance Coins at 21.75, down almost 2%. Bitcoin SV is a 126, down 3.4. And I noticed its hash rate is at its lowest ever level, interestingly enough. So
is it really?
Seems to be losing support. Cardano is down 4.6%. Sorry, no, it's not. It's down to 4.6 cents, and it is down 1.1%. Yes, indeed.
Stacey is going to backward reading later today.
I am trying. Well, my wife says I'm very trying, but
And number 11 and 12 are Monero and Stella. Come on, Stella, you can do it. You know you can.
Yeah. Oh, look, Stella's only down 0.3, but Monero's down 3.8.
Have a look at this week. In that top 12, have a look who has got the worst performance for the week.
That would be Stella.
That would be Stella. Who bought more Stella?
The Chris Index. You're a funny boy. So look, our market cap, surprisingly, is only down 0.8. So sitting at 263 billion.
It's actually funny because I looked at that a little earlier and it was at 258.
Wow.
This morning. So it's sort of done a jump.
Okay. Bitcoin dominance still sitting below 70%, 69.5. But certainly looks like some money has gone back into the alts from Bitcoin. So interesting.
And have a look there, ladies and gentlemen. The total number of coins, 5,638. And for anyone interested in mining out there, anyone who just says, oh, I wish I got in and had a little bit of fun mining coins, there is one out there. It's rated around the 1,570 something called Badcoin. And you can mine that even with an old Pentium computer if you've got it at home. So have a look at badcoin.com, I think it is in States.
No, I think it's badcoin.net.
There you go, badcoin.net, and it'll take you through the whole process of setting it up. I mean, Stacey and I did it as a bit of plaything, and I've already got 115,111 Badcoins that I've mined on my 11-year-old computer. So if you want to have a little bit of fun and just watch your electricity bill go up, go for it.
Yeah, Badcoin.net. And look, this was actually developed, was instigated from two guys that I follow called Bad Crypto Podcast. And these two, they're American guys, and for Americans, they're not too bad. they're a bit like us. They like to have a laugh.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to them for quite some time. And this actually, because they initially created a Badcoin off, I think it was the old, I can't remember which chain they used.
Doesn't matter. You can read about it.
Doesn't matter. But so this is the whole new coin they've created. And as Chris said, the key thing with this one is that it will adjust the complexity based on how strong your computer, how powerful your computer is. So it levels the playing field. It's quite a really clever concept, actually.
It is.
Yeah, so worth checking out. All right, into crazy news. Just because I like to look at what's going on around the world. So the Dow Jones shed 2.3% as the trade war turns nuclear. Old Trumpy's at it again, causing carnage wherever he goes. But because he loves to get on the old Twitter and so speak his mind as he does. And,
I know. As we were discussing yesterday, in the olden days, which weren't that long ago, that markets and everything went up based on facts. Now up and down. Now
it's based on a tweet from a
from a whack job president. And when I say whack job president, there's quite a few of them out there, but I think we all know who we're talking about.
So but it's happening across and then of course we followed suit yesterday, and our share market was hammered as they expected, and we lost was it 24 billion off the share market. Yep. So
when you have a look at that, and you have a look at what crypto's gone down, ladies and gentlemen, overnight, crypto's actually done better than the share market yet again. We may have dropped, but we've still done better than the share market.
Yeah, so look, and the other thing is the Australian dollar was also hit hard, so it's now fell below 67 US cents. Wow. So that's the lowest point in a decade, but then sort of came back to 67.37. But
when I was living in America, mate, in 2001, back in the dim dark days, before airplanes flew into buildings and all that sort of thing changed the world.
Yep.
That I was being paid in US dollars.
Yeah.
Back here in Australia, and the Aussie dollar was running at 47 cents.
Yep.
So
it's still potentially got further to go. Potentially, who knows?
Yeah.
All depends on how well our mining sector holds up, and depending on what the Reserve Bank does, because they drop interest rates, it'll probably drop our dollar again further. So.
Yeah.
But the other issue we've got here in Australia, as this chart shows, is that we're potentially in a whole world of pain. And even though that the government's thought of handing out the $1,080 tax offsets would help, hasn't really done much. So our economic growth has now hit the lowest level in 10 years. And per capita, our GDP growth is actually now negative, right? So our economy is not even keeping pace with our population growth.
Yeah.
So, and this is a long way short of, if you remember, leading up to the election, they were talking about 2.7 to 2.8% growth was what they were basing all their figures off. And remember, we actually had that discussion on one of our earlier podcasts about the fact that they're basing all this on an assumption of growth that really was a very low likelihood in our assessment. And as it's turned out, and I think they did drop it, the forecast, but it's still, we're a long way from what they were expecting.
Actually, what Stacey's actually saying there, ladies and gentlemen, is the government during the election was saying we're expecting 2.7, 2.8%. The two crazy guys in the one crazy crypto world said, yeah, they're wrong. It's probably going to be about half of that. And we're at 1.4. What is 1.4 from 2.8? It's exactly half. So you heard it first from the two crazy guys in the one crazy crypto world.
Actually, I've got the article here. I did actually bring it up. So the when I can't remember who this was, but the RBA expected growth to be a trend of 2.75 right through till 2020. And this was back in May. And
well, we shall see what they do next time around, mate.
It's all very interesting. So the economic figures are not looking good. In fact, the retail, actually go back to this one. Was it this one? Yeah, here it is. So here's and this is one of the things they're really concerned about, is obviously our retail spending. Right? Yeah. So here in Australia, retail sales fell 0.1% for the month, but the bigger picture is actually what we're spending our money on, right? So food and household groceries obviously are essentials, right? We've got to buy those things. They're the only two elements that is up in our retail spend, right? Because we've got to buy this stuff. So they're up, right? But that's probably more of a reflection on price. But then you look at clothing and footwear. Look how far that's down. Clothing, footwear, accessories down a full %. And then department stores are down. Other retail, cafe, restaurants, and takeaways down. So that brings the whole total to dropping by 0.1%.
Wow.
So things aren't looking good. And there's another article here about the surplus. The government is so intent on, we've got to get the surplus, because that's what they said they were going to do pre-election, right? But the problem is their hunt for this nirvana of budget bloody surplus is potentially going to kill the economy even more, right? And so talks about the different ways that the economy is in a spot of bother, and that is the trade war threatening the economies. We've got monstrous levels of household debt, which we've talked about to death, unemployment and underemployment, and that's the biggest factor, the underemployment, because they're not counting. And when you look at all the unemployment rates that the government loves to sprout out, and they're saying lowest unemployment in years, but they're not counting the underemployed. All right, so they're the ones that have just got a few hours a week casual, but they can't get the full-time work that they want. So that's a big issue. And then, of course, the Reserve Bank continues to drop interest rates. And the only reason the Reserve Bank drops interest rates is because they're worried about the economy. All right?
Yep. So, trying to give people more money to spend.
Yeah, absolutely. But funnily enough, the US Federal Chair, bloody Mr. Powell, insists that there won't be a recession when all the evidence is suggesting otherwise. But if you remember, back to 2008, we had the same thing happening back then, right? Back then, Ben Bernanke told the country, the Federal Reserve is not currently forecasting a recession. And then shortly after, what happened? Bang! We got hammered with the GFC. So he's, so Powell's now coming out. He came out on Friday and said that he doesn't at all expect the US to enter a recession, though he hinted the central bank will likely cut interest rates as expected this month. So they're clearly, if they're dropping interest rates, again, like I said, the only reason these guys drop interest rates is because they're worried about the economy. And then all this talk of negative interest rates, they're expecting they're going to hold off a recession. Yeah. So who knows? It's all very interesting. So talking about recessions and happening, there's a couple of articles that are out currently around how the generations sort of obviously coming up now, and the Millennials in particular, are reaching an age, and I think it says here, 2029 is the year where Millennials, the biggest adopters of Bitcoin, are expected to have the largest share of disposable income, leaving behind Gen Xers and baby boomers. They're going to leave us behind, mate. And,
they're going to be in their late 40s. They're going to be the ones earning the big dollars then.
That's right. Yeah, exactly, right. So these guys are going to start having the biggest influence. Good idea. But yeah, look, so these guys are going to drive the adoption more so. And interesting, it says here, what currently unites this generation is an inherent distrust of governments to manage the economy. Well, yeah no shit, Sherlock. But the fact is, these guys are actually they were going to look at Bitcoin as a safe haven asset, right? And there's another article. Yeah. And there's another article here where they actually did a survey that showed that 40% of millennials will look to crypto in the event of a recession. Right?
As always, ladies and gents, we won't go through all of these articles in depth or anything else because we put the links in the show notes for you.
We will indeed, and you can browse them at your leisure. So,
sir.
What's that?
We have to move along. We're going to run out of time because we were so late, and I have a child to get ready for school. Unfortunately,
no worries. Here's another.
Fortunately for him, because he'll get a good education, and he will become one of the generation after the millennials who will be totally working in cryptocurrency when he's an adult.
I'm sure there won't be anything else. So UK's got another fund that is investing into cryptos that will bring in institutional investors as well. So again, just another example of further adoption of cryptos. This is one that you brought up, mate.
Yeah, Powell Ledger goes to Rule Australia, so it's really good. Powell Ledger is basically sharing your solar power energy, so the energy you collect, and they've got a blockchain set up or a coin set up so that users can do it. I don't know and understand exactly how it all works, but the fact that it's going to outlying settlements in Western Australia, not for those people overseas, Western Australia is enormous, and most of it is desert. So have communities that are a long way from nothing.
Yep, they sure do.
This has to be a good thing. So
absolutely.
Get behind them. Get behind Power Ledger because it's a green power sharing project, I guess, and it could be really good for everyone.
Absolutely.
And no, they're not sponsors or anything else like that. It's just our take.
Yeah, no, they're doing great things, Power Ledger. Be great to support them, and we'll see how that goes. So
here's the next one I brought up. This trading Bitcoin. People talk about how to trade it, and Stacey and I have been working in cryptocurrency for a couple of years now, and he's more advanced in the trading system than me, having done a couple more courses than I have. But I thought this article was really, really good for anyone out there if you want to learn the things that people have to know. Indeed. And if you remember yesterday, we were talking about the difference in the standard share market to the crypto market, i.e. the share market here in Australia opens at 10, closes at 4. Yep. Everyone goes, holy shit, okay, get our heads together, what are we going to do next? The number one thing in this list of the 10 things that people need to know about trading crypto is there. The casino never closes. Exactly what we said. It is 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yep.
So you have to approach it differently than if you were going to be trading on the standard share market.
Yeah.
But we will leave this article up here, let you have a read, because it's actually worth it. Spend a few minutes to have a read, guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's some really good things there. It does talk about fundamentals, which I think is brilliant because that's what a lot of people don't do. What is the project? What is it there for? Does it have a use case? There's people don't even look at that. Some people even just pick projects based on a name, would you believe?
Yeah. Who? Like Badcoin. That's a really good name.
It is. And lucky for you, it actually has some good fundamentals.
And even though I have to admit, I had no idea about the project behind it. I just thought that sounds really cool. And I bought some Bitcoin. That it has turned out that from Boomerang, it is in the list of buy and hold. So I'm happy. I bought it on the name. He bought it on the. Holy shit! This is a good pick.
You've done well. So so it does talk about a lot of different elements, which is pretty cool. And it does say here, crypto is not a safe investment. And look, that depends on your perspective, but it is still very early days. And as we keep saying, never invest more than you can afford to lose. Right? Because you just don't know what's around the corner. I love this one. Get all my trade advice from a cartoon on the internet. There's a lot of them out there. So do your own research. Don't take it. Don't take don't even take our advice on anything. But
anything we say on here is for fun and informative or information purposes only. It is not to be considered financial advice in any way, shape, or form, because we don't know you. We don't know your financial situation. So
exactly. But this the last one I think is really critical, and that is risk management is everything. And I think that's a really, really good point. So,
all right, mate, we're going to have to wrap up, I'm afraid. So.
Yeah, no worries. Look, just before we finish up, the last one. This is the map of coins, mapofcoins.com, and they've actually mapped out all the coins that are hard forked or created from the original Bitcoin chain. And so there's 436 different currencies that are currently listed here from the original Bitcoin chain. Which I think is really cool. Yeah, but then that's only as of December 2017. So there's probably more since then, right? So but anyway, check out the link. It's I thought that was pretty cool.
It is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on our episode 62, September 11. So it is. It's September
11th. Yeah, it is too.
Oh, not America yet. Sorry, guys. Our thoughts are with you on this day. So it was a holiday around the world, especially for you guys. Episode 62, the two crazy guys in the one crazy crypto world. And as always, all the articles we discussed and so much more will be in the show notes. So please join us over there on Patreon and get your bling bling. All right, your
Bitcoin bling.
Your Bitcoin bling. All right, so have a great day, and we shall see you here tomorrow for episode 63.
Will do, guys.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Have a crazy old day. See ya.
Cheers. Bye.